stampers. Hang on. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I go live right here on YouTube and Facebook every Monday and Thursday at 2:30 with a live. And today I had some technical difficulties, and the computer made me reboot and still was acting a little funny. So hopefully everyone can hear me and we're all here. Can everyone hear me okay? Are things working? I have a really cute easel card for you today. It's a landscape easel, so it's going to pop up this direction, and then I have it kind of propped up on a sentiment that I'm going to be using another set of dies for. And I can't wait to show you how we make this one. Okay, so here we are down on my desk. We're using the Filled with Love bundle. And this is the little wagon. And then it's got different things you can put in it. You can put presents, you can put flowers. We could load it with balloons, lots of cute different things. And then, of course, it's got the coordinating dies that go with it. And so I'm not actually using much of the stamp set today. I'm using the little packages, but I'm using the dies. I liked the way that this the slats for the wagon give this wood look feel. I don't know if you can tell in the die, but it cuts it out with a lot of detail and makes it really look like wood. So I thought that was really cute. And then I'm using a second set of dies called Wanted to Say. And so I cut out Happy Birthday in the detail, and then I cut it out in this, which was an outline form. And when I cut out the Happy Birthday, I cut it out using our blueberry bushel with adhesive sheet on the back. And then I was able to peel off the backing and stick it onto the outline very easily. So I highly recommend our adhesive sheets if you have to glue something like this, where it's really tiny and could be messy, because the adhesive sheets made it go together just perfect. So our base is Misty Moonlight. And so that piece is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, but then also scored again at 2 1/8, or 2 1/8 and then 4 1/4, depends on. But basically I have a standard card base. And then I took the front and I split it in half and put another score line. So the halfway of our 4 1/4 is the 2 1/8. Thank you to everyone who's putting in hashtag Prize Patrol. That is how you get entered into the drawing to win today's card. I have a piece for the outside, and this is 4 by 5 1/4 in red. And then I have a piece of basic white, and this is actually a little smaller than just 1/4 inch down. This is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. So normally one step down would have been 3 3/4 by 5, but I stepped it down 2 to make it a much wider border because I wanted a little more of the red to show. And then I cut out the wheel pieces. That's these two right here. I cut those out in basic black. And then I cut out the little hubcaps in basic gray. And again, all of these have the adhesive sheet on the back, so those should go together very easily. And then this is the handle to the wagon. We have the wagon in real red, and then the wood slats in pecan pie. So lots of little pieces, but it's going to go together very easily. And this is a very, very simple fun fold card, so it should be very easy to do. What's everyone doing today for Memorial Day? Does anybody have any fun plans? I know my husband and I intend to barbecue, but it's just the two of us, so kind of low key. Oh, for the inside of the card, I have a piece of this designer series paper It is the Country Lace Designer Series paper. I liked this kind of jean look on the back side. I thought that went well. So I'm going to just take some of these little pieces and get them out of the way. You know how I like to get things into less pieces as soon as possible before I lose something on my desk. Clearly, I can't be the only person to lose things when things get messy, huh? It seems like barbecue seems to be just like the thing to do. I don't even know if we were hungry for barbecue. It just feels like that's what you're supposed to do on Memorial Day. I have a cousin, or had a cousin, Jeff, who served in Vietnam. He was actually born on 4th of July and was a Vietnam veteran, and he recently passed away. So I'm kind of extra sad this year. Okay, so when I put the red on, I only put adhesive on the bottom half because I wanted it to be able to pop up. So it's going to be centered as if the whole card is on there centered, but only adhered on the bottom. So that's what will allow it to pop up. Becky says she spent the morning at a ceremony. That sounds nice. Mary says she's working in her yard and garden. She has a very nice yard and garden too, so I'm sure that's all kinds of fun. Catherine's making cards. Me too. Okay, so this piece, I know that I want my wheels down here at the bottom. So I'm going to start out with one. And I'm kind of looking at my other one to see about where I placed it. But what I did was I placed that one and then I set this down. And then I peeled off the backing. And then kind of just slid it underneath. So that I know that those are lined up. And then I took a little pencil and I'm just going to draw a very gentle little line right there as to where the top would be, because I want to be able to stamp my packages, but I don't want them too low. And I know it's going to go back to there and out to here. So I just drew a pencil line all the way across. Then we can come in with packages here. And so now I'm just aligning it on the grid lines of my paper. And then I'm aligning my block with the grid lines. And that should hopefully keep me straight. Making garlic powder. That's interesting. I'd love to know how you do that. My dad used to grow garlic all the time. He had elephant garlic. It was huge, but we never made powder out of it. Becky said she went on to a service. Very nice. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit high with this because I've actually got the wood that's going to go on top of my wagon, and so I can use that as a little spacer in between the wagon and my packages. And this time around, I stamped them in basic black or tuxedo black, this memento. And I almost kind of think I like it better here. I stamped it in basic gray. It's not as striking, but still works. I did not put adhesive sheet on the back of our wagon, so I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue on there. I'm centering it over my wheels. And then I'm going to take my little handle right here. And I'm putting that on first because I want to be able to kind of bury it a little bit using the wood slats. So now I'm going to come in with this. Did any of you notice on my Facebook page that I had mentioned that I listed a bunch of things on eBay yesterday? I put a link on my Facebook page and some lady said she couldn't get it to work. I found it to work just fine for me. So I'm wondering if anybody else had any issues with it or if you tried the link and it worked for you. I'm just kind of curious. Because I'm not really sure what to say. If they say they click on a link and it didn't work for them and it works for me, I don't know how to fix it. Oh, good. So it did work. Okay, good. That makes me feel a little bit better. Like I said, I never know what to do when people say that doesn't work for them. Oh, look at that. I'm a little bit forward with my cake. I suppose it'll be okay. Strikes me as a little funny. See what happens? I get talking and then things go all wonky. But I appreciate those of you telling me that it worked. One of those things I can't really troubleshoot on my own. So I'm just doing some really quick little coloring here. Used balmy blue, and now I'm using Daffodil Delight. This is the light daffodil, so I'm going to come in with the dark, and I just kind of did an outline on the flag. And then I'm going to come in with the light and make circles over the edge to try to get it to bleed. And as it bleeds, it kind of melds the colors together and gives you that nice look to it. Now I turned my card upside down because the way I hold the pen, it's at an angle going that way. And so it allows me to get up close to those wood slats without coloring on them. I risk coloring on them when I'm going this way. Does that make sense? Because I don't want the edge of my nib to rub against there. And with some shaded spruce. the dark and then light. In my original, I used Old Olive over here, and I just don't think that's bright enough to coordinate with the rest of the packages. So I'm going to bring my shaded spruce over here. Now, people often ask me what the color lifter is for, and the color lifter has two purposes. Number one, it can actually lift color off of there. Like if you wanted to give a little bit of highlight in something, you could color with the color lifter and it will lighten something up. Or if you happen to go outside the lines on something, you can take the color lifter and you can start away from your project and move in towards it, and you can actually use the color lifter to push the color back into the lines. So you won't know that you actually bled out, which I think is a very nifty idea. Because it's frustrating to get like as far as you are with a card and then towards the end realize that you've kind of messed up in your coloring. This allows you to go back and save it. I've also had some people mention that they have the core of their Stampin' Blends come out when they grab hold of it to pull the caps off. And what you're doing when you do that is you're grabbing too low. If you were to grab down low and you pinch here as you pull off, you're actually pinching the part that you don't want to come out. So you want to do your pinching further away from the bottom so that you are pinching up here where there's some actual room. Because if you pinch down here, that's what makes that pull out. So just be careful about where you're doing your pinching when you take your lids off. Okay, one more and we'll be done. This marker, I've actually replaced the nib on it. Did you know that you can replace the nibs on our Stampin' Blends? It's not something Stampin' Up! Endorses or sells pieces for, but I did find online on Amazon where we could use replacement nibs that they sell, and they fit into these. My friend Alyssa Tilsner has a Blends and Beyond Facebook group, and she actually figured it out, but she's in Australia. So I did a video and gave a link to my Amazon link, which is in the US. So if you're in Australia, please go find Alyssa Tilsner. She is awesome. And if you're here in the US, then you can find that on my website under products I recommend. And there is a YouTube showing you how it's done. Actually fairly simple. If you've ever refilled our Stampin' Write markers with our re-inkers, it's very similar. That one's running a little dry. This is the dark. All righty. I like that. Catherine said whoever was pulling the wagon stopped short and the cake slid forward. That works. I'm doing well after my surgery. I had rotator cuff surgery, and I'm now on to the point where we're adding in weights and things. And so I'm starting to get sore again, but I think that's because the physical therapist has just kind of stepped things up. And I kind of did a little too much lifting at our retreat, so might have done a little bit of it myself, but I'm just kind of sore. But I'm working. I can work all waist level, and all of this is very comfortable, so that's a good thing. That was one of my biggest things, is I didn't want to be out of work for too long. Because number one, you guys depend on me, and number two, I depend on the income. That's one of the things about being self-employed, is there's nobody that's there to take over. When I worked in an outside office, I mean, you know, they would just call in a temp and everything would be fine, but there's no temp. Thank you, Catherine. Yes, I love being back with you guys live. When I was pre-filming all of those and I didn't have anybody to talk to, it was kind of a little strange. So now I'm ready to put in my sentiment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up on dimensionals because I want it to be raised above the base of my card so that it gives the easel part something to stop up against. And I am just using the bits and pieces of the end of this sheet of dimensionals because I've used everything in the middle, but all those pieces around the outside edge are still usable. So I've got those all ready and sticky. So now I just want to prop up my card to where I think I'm comfortable with the angle. And then I'm going to set this down and adhere it. And then that's how it stops. So you can see the fact that it's raised is what's stopping it. And so there we go. There is today's card. It is a landscape easel card. If you are into fun fold cards, then you may want to go check out my book. I have an ebook that I recently published that you can download instantly as an ebook, or for a few dollars extra, you can have it printed and bound. And it's filled with all kinds of diagrams that are actually done to scale. And then all of the directions just say to have a card base, a coordinating cardstock, a basic white, and then you can fill it in with whatever stamp set you happen to have. And then I've got some examples of what I've done with it. So you know what the card looks like finished in a set of colors and a stamp set with designer series paper. But you can switch it up and make it look like whatever you would like. But that can be found in my online store on my website. And that's at queenbeecreations.net/store, or right from the homepage, you can see it says shop my tutorial store. That's where you will find it as well. So I do have next week's card, or next Thursday's card. So on Thursday, we're going to play around with another new to me stamp set. Tender-Hearted is the name of this stamp set, and I just thought these little characters were adorable, and we're going to make a corner tuck card. So another very simple, easy to do fun fold. Figured being a holiday week, we will go kind of low key and make it simple. Today's card is in volume 1. Thanks, Janet. Janet does have volume 1 and has been making some cards out of it as well. So thank you for letting me know that's in there. Okay, so now I need to share my screen so we can spin the wheel and see who our winner is. Hopefully you've had a chance to type in hashtag Prize Patrol. That is how you get entered into today's drawing. I have the computer behind the scenes collecting everybody's name, and then I'm going to be able to spin, and it's going to use everybody who put that in and pick a winner. So here we go. There we go. Ginger is our winner. Congratulations, Ginger. You know the drill. You're going to go to my website, queenbeecreations.net, and then up there in the address bar, after the .net, you're going to put /prize patrol, just how it's written down there on the bottom. And that's how you go and claim your prize. You give me the address on where you would like it mailed to, and I send it off. So thank you to everyone who joined us, and I hope you will come back on Thursday for another fun fold card. Thanks for joining me. Bye.